It's a rare occasion when national championship participants get together in the regular season the very next season. We may find that to be a little bit more frequent going forward based on the changes in college football. One thing that never changes is Steve Merrill and Wager Talk and delivering on his selections here at the Voice of College Football. And of course, yes, on Wager Talk each and every week. Steve, we got Michigan and Washington and the Wolverines playing close to the vest. With that running game and defense headed to the West Coast, but they're a 2.5-point dog against a Washington team coming off a last-second field goal loss against Rutgers.
Yeah, and I was thinking when I was looking at this game earlier this week, what an easy moneymaker Michigan was last year. And then I thought, well, it was even easier the year before when I had Georgia over TCU. I love when I don't want to say Washington was phony. They were a good team, but they weren't the second best team in college football last year. But TCU was phony the year before. And you and I talked a lot about that down the stretch. And it's amazing how great the betting opportunity has been in the last two national championship games. I can only hope that the playoff this year with the extended format will give some opportunities as well. But I'm going to take a turn here. I had Michigan in the championship game, and I like Washington in this game. And now it's not because of the revenge angle. There's hardly anybody on the field for Washington, especially that probably played in the game last year. But this is a math play for me. First of all, my database simulation, 10,000 games run through the database every week, has the Huskies winning by 5.5 points on average. So I do think the line is a little short. And then on top of that, it is currently, as you said, Mark, just 2.5 in most locations. And 3, of course, is a critical number. And let's keep in mind, 3 is more crucial in the NFL than it is in college football. And the reason being is that NFL games are usually more accurate and lower scoring. Well, this is kind of like an NFL game with a total of 41.5. That's more of an NFL total versus a college total. So I do think there's a very good chance, probably 9 to 10% chance Washington wins by exactly 3 points. I project a slightly bigger win, but at 2.5 or less, there is line value with the Huskies. And I do think the situational setup is good for them as well. I'm not going to put a ton of stock into the revenge motive, but I do think they'll be excited to play Michigan again, and that can maybe overcome the possible hangover from that second loss. Back in the day when I started 29 seasons ago, that first loss was always the doomsday loss because hardly anybody could make it to the national championship, even with the loss back then. And now with 2, your season would be over. It's not quite over now with 2 losses, but it's getting pretty close. So you do worry a little bit about Washington's mindset after a narrow loss to Rutgers, but the fact that it is the defending national champs coming in, I think will keep them focused. And then on top of that, this is the first time that Michigan has traveled all season. 5 straight home games, and they travel now for the first time in week 6. And it's also a fairly inexperienced team after losing 13 players to the NFL. So I think the scheduling spot favors Washington. The line value does as well. A little bit of a concern about the letdown after the Rutgers loss, but I think being a revenge national title game will be enough to get them going. I'd lay the 2.5 here with the Huskies in this one on Saturday.
WagerTalk.com is the place to check out Steve's complete array of selections across not just college football, but the NFL and Major League Baseball with the playoffs in full swing. And Steve, you have a special offer for the folks this week.
Yeah, you see it right there on the screen. Voice 25 is an instant $25 credit. So basically, you can get one of my best bets for free because they're $25 per play. All you have to do is sign into WagerTalk.com. If you don't have an account, just set up a free one, log in, choose any play you'd like, and then at checkout, use Voice 25 to get a free best bet for myself, Steve Merrill, at WagerTalk.com.
And folks, a separate offer here at the Voice of College Football, courtesy Steve. Check out the ticker below. You go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or as a premium member on the main YouTube channel, and you get Steve's Under the Radar selection as he's hit another one last week to up his record to 24-7 since week 2. I got to start writing these numbers down. 24-7 against the spread, of course, for Steve in the Under the Radar selection. Exclusive right here at the Voice of College Football. College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, But you can't miss Steve's weekly Under the Radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.